So now that I'm finished with Falcon, I'm going to be finishing off the rest of this with the remaining high and mid tiers, starting with Peach, ending with Doc. I'm not going to be using a matchup calculator for each stage anymore because at this point it's not really the stage list that matters, it's just how the tools I have right now compare to these a little bit lesser of a characters because really it's not really stages that really make it influence, but rather like at this point it's more about matchup knowledge and really bullying the characters with the superior tools that I should be having. So, in theory, like Marth wins a lot of these matchups really badly, but again, it's a little bit balanced out by the fact that I'm not going to be playing these other matchups nearly as much as the top six, the more important matchups that are way more common. These characters aren't nearly as common, so they do get a little bit of a buff. There's that one Laver guy that says, like, oh, Marth Doc is like actually 80-20 Marth's favorite, but it's like, yeah, but I'm not spending like every day of my life playing against Dr. Mario. But they do have a little bit of edge in that, and this is also getting to the point where honestly it doesn't matter too much if I'm playing well or bad, just as long as I follow these certain rules, depending on how I guess precise or hard it is to execute. It honestly doesn't really change that much. So more or less, it does things shouldn't really change if I'm playing well or bad. So let's start with Peach. So I have favored, super favored if it's like more than 65-35, or it could even be somewhere around this range. So what do I think of Peach? I think it's quite clearly Marth favored, as we've seen throughout history. If they're both at the same level, Marth clearly wins. This matchup's really all about how well do you play disadvantage in like 20 different spots. Because you're not going to get easy kills or gimps like you would versus Spaceys, but Marth has the edge, even in like when they both, like the moment Peach doesn't have a turnip, Peach is pretty much almost always at a disadvantage, and you can just keep bully Peach, get some kills through juggles and edge guards. Like, maybe they're like 10 to 20% chance that you get it, but like you put her through at disadvantage like 20 times and it adds up. Whereas like Peach punish game on Marth isn't really that great. The edge guards, she can't really properly edge guard Marth if Marth has a double jump. So like she either needs to make a super hard read or get lucky that I don't know certain setups. The thing that keeps it from being super favored though is that she has insane survivability. Like I did say like there's 20 disadvantages, but chances are one of them I'm probably gonna mess up, and then she could get a nice reversal sometimes. I wouldn't get punished nearly as hard as like if she were to fight against Spaceys, but even then like there's like certain reversal spots. She could sometimes get lucky with turnip pulls and hit me with a bomb or a turnip. Uh, so there's that going for her. But overall, it's quite clearly Marth favored if you know how to play disadvantages. If you don't know how to play disadvantages, then it might as well be a losing matchup. But if you do, then this matchup's not too bad. Ice Climbers. So I'm going to go under the assumption that it's not wobble. If there is wobbling, then like I would probably put it around here or here. But since there's no wobbling, Marth also clearly wins this. Keep in mind, Icies still have like a pretty solid punish game, even without wobbling. Especially when they get a grab in the corner, it might as well be a wobble at that point with like the handoffs and the blizzard refresh they could do. Like, I've been grabbed by a slug at the corner from like 0, and then I get 0 to death if I'm get grabbed in the corner since Nana has a guaranteed re-grab there. So, I mean, that's not. And this matchup could be a little bit tricky when there's like blizzard wallings and they crouch cancel a lot with my fair. But clearly, Marth does have the range advantage. If I'm playing well, then like I kill Nana every time when I separate them and I have good targets switching awareness. When I'm really super warmed up against Icies, it's definitely this. But since I'm probably not going to be warming up versus Icies, especially since we low-key kind of banned them from banning wobbling, I'm not going to fight these too often, so it's more around here. Pretty much Marth can wall him out. He has good separation tools, can edge guard him well. When it's just Sopo, it's like super, super Marth favorite. It's like, it might be like 7-3, 8-2 Marth favored. But with some tricks that they have, I'm sure there's like a lot of Icies technology I don't even know exists that could surprise me. And that's what keeps it. That's what gives him a little edge because I'm not going to be super studied in this matchup. Pikachu. What do I think of this? In all honesty, I don't fucking know. I really don't know. Every top player I've heard always say that Pikachu wins this or Pikachu loses this matchup. Like apparently, Marth could just wall up Pikachu. But then you have Axe that hasn't lost to Marth in like over 5-7. He lost to Pew Pew that one local. He had Ty beat him once out of like 100 tries or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. And you saw me lose to Tyler, but honestly, I wouldn't really say that's due to the matchup. It's due because I don't know what I'm doing in this matchup. Like, to be frank, I haven't played this matchup very much. Like, I've literally me playing Tyler Swift in bracket. That was my second time ever fighting a high level Pikachu in bracket, and the first time was like Axe at like a random online tourney, and like it's not like I practice against Pikachu very often. I don't know how stuff like juggles and edge guards work. Like juggling Pikachu is a little weird to me because like most characters like you could like juggle and control space well, but Pikachu could just like she could just quick attack away from the top platform. Like he could like quick attack away from being juggled and grab the ledge and has like a pretty good ledge dash, I believe. So it's like I don't know how Marth is ever supposed to reliably kill and juggle Pikachu. But apparently he could wall him off forever, so I don't really know how that works, if I'm being honest. Obviously Pikachu has like arguably the best punish game against Marth than the entire cast. Like, he has Nair up smash thunder that kills at like 40. But I don't know what to think of. This like legit, it might be Marth's only losing matchup when he's playing well. Like that might not be a meme, given the data of how dominating Axe's record is against Marth. And I don't know. I don't know what to think of this matchup. What about Yoshi? Now this is clearly a Marth favored matchup where if I don't approach like an idiot and I space my sword well, use Nair well, I don't fall for his parries or armor stuff. Some of his top platform approaches are a little annoying, but like they could be reactable. I don't fall for certain gimmicks. I juggle him well. I could kill him efficiently, make him suffer when he double jumps, recovers, so I grab, and then there's that little mix-up. Overall, it's a pretty annoying matchup, honestly, where like it's kind of like a sort of a war of attrition kind of matchup, but it's definitely Marth favored given how he could just kill Yoshi like randomly at 0 if you like could catch him out of his double jump, or kill him at 200 with like an up BL shield after juggling him forever. But you've seen Zane versus Amsa. I think it's really telling that that Zane could just practice against his Yoshi in his region and still able to beat Amsa. Like given how much Marth can kind of bully Yoshi in certain positions, such as when Yoshi's recovering, and like wall him off fine, even despite the armor and parrying tools Yoshi's has. Yeah, it's very solidly Marth favored. Sometimes it could be quite the pain to kill Yoshi, and there's going to be certain stuff that I've never seen before that will probably get me killed, which is what's preventing it from being super favored. But overall, it's decently Marth favored. Samus, a little similar to Yoshi. I'd say that Marth can bully Samus with shield because Samus's grab takes a lot of commitment, so shielding is like pretty good risk reward for Marth, and he can act out shield. Has good range and movement that Samus kind of lacks. And also could juggle and ledge trap Samus really well. And some of Samus's gimmicks such as missiles, like the missile setup on Stadium or whatever, where she could just spam missiles. Marth deals with that fine, just jab and then immediately dash. That's totally fine. So this matchup is quite the grind. Honestly, in neutral, it's more like this, but because Samus gets like so many chances, like if she plays her cards right, like she wiggle air dodges, she only recovers, doesn't give me any juggle opportunities. Uh, I've played. This is the only matchup I've played in friendlies and tournament where I've taken a Samus to timeout. That is it, because sometimes it's kind of hard finding kill setups on Samus because you have to either rely on her messing up her aerial interrupts or like a random tipper. But this matchup, sometimes you just can only kill with like an up to on 250, and I'm gonna mess up sometimes. And that's what gives her the little edge, is that this is basically like a huge mental test. But as long as it's kind of like a more extreme version of the Peach matchup, where Samus has even worse tools in neutral than Peach, but she has like a little bit better of a survivability. Also, Charge Shot could be quite annoying, but like not that much of a game changer. Luigi, yeah, I think Luigi is definitely super favored for Marth, because what all these characters have is that they have pretty good recoveries and survivabilities in some way. But Luigi's survivability compared to all these, I guess maybe Ice Climbers, but Ice Climbers has like more tools in my opinion, especially with wobbling. But what Luigi lacks compared to these characters is a really bad recovery. Like his up B doesn't sweet spot. Uh, you have to rely on RNG to get misfire, otherwise misfire is kind of trash. And if you know your edge guard setups, Luigi just instantly dies. He also has the worst aerial drift in the game, or maybe the second worst. It's still pretty bad, and that makes Marth's juggles on Luigi really potent. So even if you don't know anything that you're doing against Luigi in neutral, as long as you understand juggling Luigi and edge guarding, the matchup's super trash for him. Like, I've played really bad versus Luigi before, but because I knew my edge guards, I knew my juggles, he just died. Man, that's a pretty big edge. Not to mention, I think Marth, if he plays like an aerial-based game, Luigi can't do much, because while Luigi controls the ground pretty well, his aerial mobility, again, is not that good. So you could exploit making Luigi commit to his down smash sometimes. And if Luigi tries to commit in the air with you, he's taking a huge risk. And if you hit him, then that could be a big juggle opportunity. You get what I'm saying. And Luigi's down throw combos on Marth is a gimmick, because Marth can hold down and in to make sure that down throw, anything Luigi does, is not a true combo. So pretty bad of a matchup. Alright, so the last one up is Doc. I would put this right around here. Yeah, I think this is about right. So the reason why I put it slightly harder than Samus is because Doc does have some neat kill options on Marth. He has down throw fair, he has capes to edge guard, and he has like weird setups that could just kill you. And surprisingly, like the weak hit Nair actually being strong hit, if it's out for a long time, could actually catch some of Marth's dash back and actually punish me harder. So Doc has a decent punish game on Marth, which is why I put it, harder than Luigi. And also, Doc could sweet spot fine around a lot of Marth's edge guards. It's pretty tricky to edge guard a Doc that actually knows how to recover well, and doing all the wall techs and stuff. So it's not easy to kill Doc either, and also juggling him could be a little tricky at times because his dare is a lot bigger than it looks. However, to just state the obvious, Marth does outrange Doc. He could still juggle Doc reasonably well, could stuff out pills fine. He outranges Doc a lot. Even though juggling and edge guarding can be a little tricky, it's still possible. And considering how, Doc kind of suffers from Peach's disadvantages in the same way, where he kind of gets outranged in a lot of spots, and it's up to Marth to recognize a lot of those disadvantages and see if he can make Doc suffer, and find the 10 to 20% chance that he could kill Doc. I think it's slightly harder than Samus due to the danger that even though he doesn't have as good of recovery as Samus, just the fact that Doc can easily kill me, especially if like stuff like cape edgeguarding and down to fair, like that's a little scary. And there's probably technology that Doc could push further, such as stuff like LB cancel, combo strings, and acting out crouch cancel faster. Those tools could make this matchup really annoying, but nonetheless, he still has to deal with the sword. He gets outranged, and overall, the amount of disadvantage I'm putting Doc through is enough for me. Is enough for this to make it a very favorable matchup for Marth. Even though I can't kill him very easily, it's kind of similar to Peach, where, well, you're stuck in disadvantage. I'm gonna make you suffer, and I will find a kill at some point. Just can't play it incorrectly. That's it for the high and mid tiers. For the next video, I'll talk about the remaining cast, the mid and low tiers.